Hey guys, first off, sorry for weird lighting, and then also, oh, hi Chloe Marie. Hi baby. I not pick you up right now. Thank you. Okay. Anyway, so today's video is a little different than what I've been doing. I wanted to be fully transparent with you guys about the pros and cons of having bariatric surgery. So let's hop into it. Nowadays, it seems like everyone is struggling with their weight, or at least most people. For some people, you try diet after diet and exercise program after exercise program, and nothing seems to help. For me, I was definitely one of those people, and I have struggled with being overweight or even obese my entire life. I remember I tried to lose weight, started trying to lose weight even before I hit the double digits age. I think I was like 8 or 9 when I first started trying to lose weight, because I was bigger than my peers, and my mom also struggled with her weight, and it was something that we started trying to do together. And like I said, diet after diet, workout program after workout program, and no results. So at the age of 27 years old, I was 344 pounds. And I also had developed prediabetes and fatty liver. And on top of that, I started to also struggle with mobility issues, and it was just getting worse and worse. And I knew that if I didn't do something drastic, my life was going to be miserable for one, and shorter for two. So that led me to the decision of gastric bypass for me, bariatric surgery. I didn't know which one at first. There's different types. And it turned out that for me, the best option was the Roux-en-Y gastric bypass, and that's what I did. But making that decision was a huge challenge. I honestly almost backed out a couple of times, just out of fear. And I have seen other people struggle with, like, online and like on YouTube, and even in person, I've seen people struggle with this, and weight loss surgery can be scary. So I almost backed out, but in the end, I did obviously go with it. And ultimately, the thing that led me to making that decision was weighing out the pros and cons. So I wanted to do that with you guys today. So I want to start with the pros. Honestly, there's a lot of pros that we can go through. There's the obvious ones, like, the rapid weight loss, watching the number on the scale go down, and watching it go down rather quickly. On top of that, the weight loss makes you look and feel so much better. Not that there's anything wrong with how you look as a plus size person. It's just, I know I prefer myself as a lighter person, and general society is not on the same page of body positivity that I wish it was. But from a health perspective, it is so much better to not be obese. Obesity comes with so many issues, and those issues start to fall off as you lose weight. So bariatric surgery can help you get off medications that you have been on for so long that you can't remember, or help you get pre-diabetes or actual diabetes under control, and maybe even in remission. Oh, it can also help your liver function better, your kidneys function better, all of your internal organs are under much less pressure and much less strain if there's less fat in your body. So physically, the pros can, like, there's just such a long list. And then mentally, your self-image improves, your self-confidence improves. Mobility is such a huge factor because it takes such a toll on your mental health. And if you can't take care of yourself and your surroundings, it takes a toll on your mental health. And depression and anxiety can really step in and start wreaking havoc on your life. And honestly, seeing that number on the scale go down so fast is kind of a high. It is so rewarding. And then there are the plethora of non-scale victories. Some non-scale victories that I have noticed are things like fitting behind the steering wheel of my car better, being able to get in and out of my car better, being better able to take care of myself, like I mentioned, and my surroundings. I can clean and take better care of my body, and you get to wear smaller and, let's be honest, cuter clothes, because something that some people may not realize is when you are a plus size woman, your choices for clothing kind of shrinks. You tend to have to lower your standards on what is cute. You get to wear smaller, cuter clothes. Less body pain is something that I've experienced. Overall, the swelling and the pain in my body has gone down significantly. You also increase, like, it just naturally increases your endurance, your strength, your flexibility, your energy, and I could just go on and on. However, I think the biggest pro for me is probably the fact that this surgery has given me control over food instead of living my life with food controlling me. And that's how it had been my entire life. Food controlled me. I basically allowed food to dictate my emotional state, and I can now find happiness and cope in healthier ways and honestly more effective ways. I now look at food as fuel for my body instead of my emotional regulator. So those are that's kind of an overview of some of the pros, and some of the biggest pros in my opinion. Now for the cons, I think the first one that comes up in my head is the first 2 weeks after surgery are a little rough, just because you can only have protein shakes for that whole 2-week stretch. It is kind of trying, but once you get past that 2-week mark and the doctors allow you to take the next step in your nutrition plan, it gets so much better. Another con for me was dealing with getting in my water, getting used to my new stomach, and how I had to literally constantly sip on water. It gets easier with time, but at first it really feels like a full-time job. You have to constantly remind yourself, even if it means setting alarms or having loved ones remind you, or whatever that may look like for you, you have to remember to drink water constantly. And you do have to sip because your stomach is still healing and it's smaller, so it can't handle you guzzling water. You won't be able to keep it down if you try to guzzle your water last minute, and it'll hurt. And kind of along that same vein, if you fall behind on sipping your water, if you go too long, like for me, if I go more than 30 minutes without putting any water in my stomach, the first few sips make my stomach cramp. And if I don't take those sips, like if I continue to go without water, my stomach will cramp anyway. So there's no way around it. Like if you don't drink your water, you are going to get stomach cramps. So you have to really stay on top of keeping yourself hydrated and keeping water in your stomach at least a little bit. And it does become more difficult to get back into the swing of things if you go a long time without water, because like I said, the first few sips cause cramps, and because your stomach is just like, whoa, what's this? And even eating food, if you are not keeping yourself hydrated, eating food becomes incredibly difficult as well. But I would say the biggest struggle that I had after surgery was definitely the fact that I suddenly could not use food as a coping mechanism. I thought that I had kind of prepared myself for this properly, and I expected it to be difficult to not have that coping mechanism anymore, but it was a lot more difficult than I expected it to be. As I said, I relied pretty heavily on food for a coping mechanism, and it was kind of a shock for it to just be gone. So there was about a 2-week period where I was really depressed because I had lost that coping mechanism, and I don't know if I just didn't properly replace that coping mechanism with healthier coping mechanisms yet, or if I just hadn't fully let go of that coping mechanism. I'm not sure, but all I know is there was like 2 weeks that I had to work with my therapist, and I had to really cope with and deal with and process the fact that food couldn't be my coping mechanism anymore. I kind of had to mourn the loss of food. There was just so many bad foods in my diet that were there simply for emotional support, and not having them all of a sudden, it was kind of like mourning a death. Some smaller cons that I had were things like back pain. Usually pain, especially back pain, gets better with weight loss, and that's what I expected. That's what my doctors expected, and we don't really understand why exactly it got worse. I think it was mainly the fact that my back and core muscles are extremely weak, and that was exacerbated by the weight, and the weight loss kind of opened my eyes up to the fact that I am weak there, and it really caused pain especially in my lower back. So, but I honestly, with that, I wouldn't expect that for anyone else, because again, that's not what was expected for me. It just kind of happened that way. But something else that is kind of a con, if I'm being honest, is with rapid weight loss, chances are you're going to experience some sort of change in your menstrual cycle if you're AFAB and you have a menstrual cycle. So I don't know the scientific reason behind that, but I do know that it's pretty common for AFAB people who are menstruating to experience changes, and they can be like pretty big changes in your menstrual cycle when you have rapid weight loss. So that's something that I experienced, but I recently was told that my doctor's pretty sure I have endometriosis, so that doesn't help my case. And I think that the endometriosis is a big part of the pains that I have with my period. And then I'm also, I started a new birth control right before my surgery, and so my body is still adjusting to that birth control. So my hormones are really messed up right now. I can't think of any other cons that are like blaring red flags, you know, like I can't, I'm pretty sure that's all of the cons that I have experienced or noticed, and except for dumping, obviously. So if you eat too fast, if you eat too food that's too dry, if you eat like take too big of bites, if you eat something that's high in fat or sugar, you will dump. And dumping is actually, most people think dumping is just throwing up or going number 2. But actually, dumping can also include things like headaches, fatigue. I think dizziness is one of them that can happen. Obviously, nausea and stomach cramps. You don't have to actually throw up to dump. And heart palpitations can happen sometimes in the later stages of dumping. There's a few, I'm probably missing a few symptoms, but those are the main ones that I have experienced anyway. But if you follow your doctor's orders and directions and suggestions and really stick to your diet plan, and also really pay attention to how long you're chewing your food, how fast you're eating in general, and whether your food is dry or not, those things will help you significantly in avoiding dumping. So yeah, that's the pros and cons of having bariatric surgery. You know, I just wanted to be transparent with you guys, and you know, there are some things that I experienced after surgery that kind of caught me off guard that I was not expecting, and I don't want someone to experience those and be caught off guard. So if you really take a good look though at the pros versus the cons, there's one big thing that I want you to notice. With all the pros, these are things that are going to stay with you for years, as long as you stick with the diet, as long as you continue to do what you're supposed to do to keep your surgery productive and positive. You know, these are some of this can last you the rest of your life. Some of these pros can last you the rest of your life. With the cons, however, I don't think I listed a single con that won't be overcomable within a month or 2. You may struggle for a couple of weeks with some of it. Some of it you can struggle for a month or 2, like I said, but the cons, as long as you're, like I said, doing what you're supposed to do according to your doctor's suggestions, you will overcome all of these cons. You may have to do a little bit more than some other people. Like for me, I've had to do a lot more in the fitness levels of on the fitness side because of my back and core weakness. And you may want to get your joints checked out if you've been overweight for a long time. And you know, there are going to be obstacles to overcome. But ultimately, I think that if you have tried every diet you can think of that is even remotely close to doable for you, if you have tried every workout you can handle, if you have been dealing with obesity for years or maybe even most of your life, it's worth talking to your doctor, seeing what you can do, what type of bariatric surgery you qualify for if you can, and trying to, just give it your all. And I think bariatric surgery is a wonderful choice if you and your doctor both agree that it would help you. So in other words, don't let fear stop you from this wonderful opportunity. I also wanted to give you guys a quick update on my personal recovery and my personal weight loss journey. First off, I have decided to start doing my body measurements once a month instead of twice a month. So since I did my measurements at the beginning of August, it'll be the beginning of September when I do it again. Previously, I have been doing it every 2 weeks, but I just feel like, it's becoming a bit redundant. So, however, I will continue to update you on my weight every 2 weeks. Just a little short blurb at the end, just explaining, okay, this week I lost this much, or the last 2 weeks I lost this much. So having said that, time for the blurb. I am currently at weighing in at 259.3 pounds. So that is a 5 pound loss over the last 2 weeks. So I don't know if you guys noticed, but I noticed. My brain was immediately like, oh no, the weight loss number is getting smaller and smaller as time goes on. Well, I do have a few suspicions as to why that is happening. I am pretty sure that I am reaching that weight where your weight loss does begin to slow down, because essentially the bigger you are, the more your body wants to lose the weight and the easier it will be to lose the weight. And then the smaller you get, the more your body's like, well, we're running out of fat reserves. So the body kind of slows down a little bit on the weight loss. I also am, I've been exercising pretty intensely, at least 3 times a week for the last month plus. I think it's been a month and a half actually that I've been doing intense workouts at least 3 times a week. So I have a suspicion that I might be building muscle now. And muscle does weigh more than fat. It's denser than fat. So I'm not sure if that is kind of adding to that number slowing down, the weight loss slowing down. But I do want to talk to my surgeon and confirm those suspicions before you guys hold me to that. So next week I should have some answers. I'm gonna message him and see where I'm supposed to be at with weight loss and rate of weight loss. So I think that is everything for today. This is a little bit of a longer video. I apologize for that. But I really wanted to be as transparent as possible and make sure that you guys were as informed as I could help you be. And also, just to remind you guys, I am not a professional. I am not a doctor. I am not even going to school to become a professional or a doctor. This is all based off of my own experience and what I have been told by professionals in my life. Everyone is different. Just because I was told some of these things or experienced these things, that doesn't mean you will. And your journey could be very different from mine. So don't run off too far with the things that I have said. Definitely talk to your doctor and work with your personal medical team to make any decisions that are life-altering. So, yeah, having said that, that's everything I have. So, I will see you guys next week. Thank you for watching. Bye-bye.